ॐ भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वांतोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्ष्यक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तु मे। मदेकबंधो मत्संगिन् मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधुता दायिन् अति नीचोच्चतारक हानमुंच कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्णार्थकंठयो स्फुर। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम की जय। Hare Krishna. So let us continue our discussion from chapter 4th of second canto. Chapter is entitled The Process of Creation. There is no water. So, Process of Creation, that is the title. And yesterday we just started this chapter. After going through the excellence of bhakti, the superiority of bhakti that is discussed in first 3 chapters of second canto. So then the fourth chapter is sort of intermediate topic, which just basically has the questions of Parikshit, which will become the basis of discussion in chapter 5, 6, and 7. So from that angle, we said yesterday that the process of creation name has been given. So primarily this chapter has the Mangalacharan, the prayers which are offered by Srila Shukdev Goswami before beginning to answer the questions of Parikshit, which are asked in this chapter only. I mean, they are there in this chapter itself. So from verse 1 to 4, Parikshit's disposition of heart is spoken. Then from verse 5 onwards, 5 almost up to 11. Parikshit's questions, they are spoken briefly. And then from verse 12 onwards, all the way up to verse 25, is the prayers of Srila Shukdev Goswami. So that is how the chapter is divided. So in this way, we were seeing yesterday Parikshit's praktani sthiti, Parikshit's disposition, prior disposition, before asking these questions, that how he felt all the more strengthened, all the more nourished by the talks of Srila Shukdev Goswami. And then he gave up all his attachments, which he had already given up. All the more he became steadfast in his desire to achieve the Supreme Lord. So that is spoken in verse 1 to 4. Satim matim satim vyadhat, and all this. So 2 more verses will speak this idea, and then Parikshit's questions will be there. Text 3 and 4. Prapachachemamevartham yanmam pruchata sattama Krishnanubhava shravane shraddadhano mahamana samstham vidnyaya sanyasya karmatraivargi kanchayat vasudeve bhagavati atmabhavam dridham gataha.
O great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me.
So, Srila Sud Goswami is continuing, saying that what you have asked me right now, Yanmam Prichata Sattama, basically what you have expressed to me, as such they haven't asked him anything. They have expressed to him saying, Ayur Harati Vaipumsa Mudyamastan. And before that they have spoken, Kim Annat Prishtavan, that if you want to say, the question was there, right, in the last chapter. So Shaunak did ask him that practically Vayasaki Shukdev has answered all the questions. So was there anything else that they discussed? Kim Annat Prishtavan. So that is what he's saying, Sud Goswami, that Yanmam Prichata Sattama, what you have asked me. The same thing was asked by Shri Parikshit Maharaj. He is saying, Prapacha cha imam evartham. With this purpose only, Parikshit also asked similar questions. What you have asked me. So it's basically talking about the same aspect which is raised in terms of talking about the devotional service, talking about the uselessness of a human body if one doesn't engage into bhakti and all that. So what he wants to say, that what you are asking and what you want me to speak about, yes, actually Parikshit also similarly he spoke. Similarly he asked to Shukdev, and I will narrate that to you. Vishwanath Chakravarti shows that in his purport, saying that what is that which they say that, which Srila Sud Goswami says that you have asked, Yanmam Prichata iti Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Ityadi Vakyehi Vyanjitam. Yes. So what is that you have asked me? He says here, Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Ityadi Vakyehi Vyanjitam Krishna Katham Bruhi iti Yat Prichat. That which you have asked me, saying that Ayur Harati Vaipumsam and all these, by Vyatirek, by Anvaya, you have spoken all these things. So what you have indicated to me is, please speak Krishna Katha. So that is what is asked also by Parikshit. Especially in terms of, here Krishna Katha would mean Krishna Katha also in terms of Srishti Leela. Because the questions which are following are Srishti Leela's questions. Okay. So Krishna Katha in general, Krishna Katha also as Srishti Leela, and Krishna's also transcendental Leela, Chit Shakti's Leelas. Srishti Leela is Lord's Leela with Maya Shakti. And his transcendental leelas are his leelas, Lord's leelas with Chit Shakti, that way. So both the leelas here we are talking about this way, he says. So what you are asking me, this same thing, Raja, meaning Shukdev, this Parikshit, he also asked, Krishnanubhava Shravane Shraddadhano Mahamana. Huh? So he was had a great faith in the topics that were being spoken by Srila Shukdev Goswami. He had given up when he understood about his death in 7 days. He immediately gave up all the so-called duties, prescribed duties that he had. Traivargikam karma. It is referring to all the prescribed duties, which might involve some sacrifices and some karma kandiya kind of duties also. So he gave that all up and he became completely situated in Supreme Lord Vasudeve Bhagavati Atma Bhavam Dridham Gata. Atma Bhavam Dridham Gata means he was already having Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti for Supreme Lord, but it became all the more steadfast when he understood about his death. Samstham Vidnyaya, meaning when he understood about his death, that is going to happen within 7 days. So already he was a devotee, Premi Bhakta, and it became all the more dridha. He renounced everything and he situated himself completely so as to hear the glories of Supreme Lord. So he's speaking about that particular meaning Parikshit's you can say situation or Parikshit's mental disposition. That is what is spoken over here. So Vishwanath Chakravarti also says there, Atma Bhavam Dridham Gata. So Atmana Bhavam Pramanam Purva Siddham. It was already there. He already was a pure devotee. Purva Siddham only. But that became all the more dridha. It became even more strengthened. He decided to just take exclusive shelter of Lord Krishna. Like that. So Prabhupada points out, especially he speaks about this karma traivargikam chayat, sanyasya. Prabhupada in purport is focusing on this particular thing, that how he renounced all the traivargik karma, the karma kand aspect. So here Prabhupada says, as a great emperor of the world, Maharaj Parikshit had to observe such regulations of Vedic karma kandiya section. But by his slight association with Shukadeva Goswami, he could perfectly understand that Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, for whom he had a natural love, Atma Bhavam, since his birth is everything. And thus he fixed his mind firmly upon him, renouncing all modes of Vedic karma kandi activities. So he is speaking about that aspect of sanyasya karma traivargikam chayat. Maharaj Parikshit is specially qualified with the word Mahamana, which puts him on an equal level with the Mahatmas described in Bhagavad Gita. So Mahamana, Prabhupada connects it to Mahatma from the Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa Mahatma sudurlabha. Or Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakriti mashrita. Like that. So Mahatma and Mahamana, one who has a great mind, one who has a great heart, that is Mahamana. Same as Mahatma, isn't it? So the Mahatmas, he says, they also gave up all karmakandiya conceptions of life, solely and wholly depending on Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what Prabhupada does is, he quotes many, many verses showing this futility of karmakand, futility of karmakandiya aspect. So he begins by talking about Ashlishyava Padaratam Vinashtumam, that how a devotee is interested wholly and solely on Supreme Lord and is dependent on Supreme Lord completely. So from Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. And you can see all these different verses he is quoting now, which show that same attitude, that a devotee is completely at the feet of the Supreme Lord. He whatever Lord wants to do with him. So same kind of attitude Parikshit is showing. So that's why he is quoting these verses. Like he is quoting one verse from Rup Goswami. Virachayamai dandam Dinabandho dayam va Gatiriha na bhavatta Kachidanya mamasti Nipatatu shatakotir Nirmalam va navambhas Tadapi kila payoda Stuyate chatakena. O Lord of the poor, do what you like with me. Give me either mercy or punishment. But in this world, I have none to look to except your lordship. The Chataka bird always prays for the cloud, regardless of whether it showers rain or throws a thunderbolt. So he's speaking this prayer of Srila Rupa Goswami, where he is comparing himself or a devotee to be like Chatak bird. And so Chatak is interested only in the Swati Nakshatra rain, with the rains which are coming from the clouds. So sometimes, even though he may be hit by very strong torrents of rain, or even a thunderbolt for that matter, lightning, but still Chatak bird is interested only in the rain water, not in some ordinary water in this world. So similarly, a devotee is interested only in the Supreme Lord, not in anyone else, in the sense any demigods or any other shelter or Brahman or like that. So he's quoting similarly other verses also, beautiful verses, where the karma kandi obligations are negated, their futility is said. So Madhavendra Puri's famous verses, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu Bhavato Bhosnana Tubhyam Namo, like that. One more verse he quotes, famous verse again from Madhavendra Puri. Mugdham Mam Nigadantu Niti Nipuna Bhrantam Mohra Vaidika. So very beautiful series of verses is quoted here by him. Finally, Prahlad Maharaj, he quotes also. Dharmartha Kama iti yo bhitas trivarga. Religion, economic development, and self gratification are celebrated as three means of attaining the path of salvation. But he says further, all these are different subjects of Vedic education, and therefore I consider them temporary engagements. On the other hand, surrendering unto Supreme Lord Vishnu is a factual gain in life, and I consider it to be the ultimate truth. So this is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, Prabhupada says, being completely focused, wholly and solely dependent on Supreme Lord. How Baldev Vidyabhushan defines Vyavasayatmika Buddhi? So he's quoted this from Baldev Vidyabhushan's Tika. Bhagavad Archan Rupaik Nishkam Karma Bhir Vishuddha Chitta. Bhagavad Archana Rupaik, only exclusive worship of the Supreme Lord. So that is accepted as Nishkam Karma by him. That is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Isn't it? That context is of Nishkam Karma. So what is that Nishkam Karma for the devotees? He says Bhagavad Archan Rupa. Meaning Archan in the sense all here. Archan is general usage here. Archan doesn't mean only deity worship. Archan would mean Shravanam, Kirtanam and everything. Worship of the Supreme Lord. In that sense, he has used it. Like that. So that is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. And Parikshit, he became situated in that. That is what, that's why he is quoting all these things. Okay. So Parikshit's question now. Text 5. Rajovacha Samichinam Vacho Brahman Sarvatnyasya Tavanagha Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Harehe Kathayata Katham.
Maharaj Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord.
So Parikshit, first he thanked Srila Shukdev Goswami for what all he had heard from him in chapter 1 and 2. Of course, chapter 1 and 2 for us, when Shukdev Goswami is speaking, he is not saying to Parikshit, chapter 1, chapter 2, right? And that is done later. By acharyas, the chapters have been divided in that particular manner, like that. So Parikshit, when he's heard all those instructions, which are the topic discussed in chapter 1 and 2. So he is saying that, after that he is saying this. Samichinam vacho Brahman sarvajnasya tavanag. Your words are perfectly right. Your words are very samichin, very appropriate, very pertinent. And what is the effect happening on me? Tamo vishiryate mahyam. My ignorance, my attachments, my darkness, which is there due to ignorance, it is vishiryate, it is going away. It is getting destroyed, gradually disappearing, because you are speaking Lord Hari's glories. So you are sarvadnya, and hearing from you Lord Hari's glory, my darkness in my heart is going away. Tamo vishiryate mahyam, he is saying. So please go on speaking. Your words are very, very powerful, pertinent, perfectly right. So Prabhupada in purport, he says that this is the effect of hearing Bhagavatam. Tamo vishiryate mahyam. Prabhupada says this is the test of hearing Bhagavatam. It should happen. This effect should take place like that. The practical experience of Maharaj Parikshit is disclosed herein, revealing that transcendental topics of the Lord act like injections when received by the sincere devotee from a person who is perfectly uncontaminated by material tinges. So that special qualification of Shukdev Goswami is also spoken. He is Anagha and he is Sarvadnya. So hearing from such a powerful personality, Parikshit, what his experience is there, Prabhupada is showing that this should be the effect that is happening in a sincere sadhaka. In other words, reception of messages of Srimad Bhagavatam from professional men heard by a Karmakandi audience never acts miraculously as stated here. On the contrary, instead of hearing from some Anagha and Sarvadnya, if you hear from a professional reciter, an audience is also taking it like Karmakand activity. Saat din sunna hai, kuch katha, like that. So oftentimes they arrange such kathas and all that, and Prabhupada in one prior paragraph also, prior purport also, he said that oftentimes it is very much like some Shubha Kriya, some auspicious activities, 7 days come together and here, okay, there is some benefit, agreed. It is not useless. It is obviously there is some benefit of hearing Bhagavatam Katha, but it is a far cry from the real benefit of Bhagavatam. That is the point. So Prabhupada is saying, devotional hearing of messages of the Lord is not like hearing ordinary topics. Action will be felt by the sincere hearer by experience of gradual disappearance of ignorance. So this effect should happen. This is Prabhupada's point. If Bhagavatam is being heard, one's ignorance should slowly disappear and one should lead his life to greater and greater purity. So for this he quotes Yasya Deve Parabhaktir, Yatha Deve Tatha Guru. And also he alludes to Bhakti Paresha Anubhavo Viraktiranyatra Syad. This particular verse of Tushti Pushti Kshudhapaya from 11th Canto. When a hungry man is given food to eat, he feels satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining simultaneously. Thus, he does not have to ask whether he has actually been fed or not. The crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such an act. That's the crucial test. One should feel tushti, satisfaction, happiness. One should feel pushti. One feels great strengthening, great nourishment he feels. And then finally, Kshudhapaya, also his hankering for the material objects goes away. So, Tushti, Pushti, Kshudhapaya. Just as one feels great satisfaction when one eats food, one is hungry. So he feels, first of all, happiness in eating the food. Then he also feels strength by every morsel. So that is compared to Tushti and Pushti. And finally, the hankering also goes away. meaning his belly is being filled up. So does this mean that hankering to perform bhakti goes away? No, no. Hankering to material enjoyment goes away. The hankering for bhakti increases. So Jiva Goswami says in that analogy, that's the only thing which should be reversed. As much food you eat, your desire to eat that food will lessen enough. But here he says, as much bhakti activity you do, more the desire becomes more rampant to do it more and more and more. So that's the only thing. That's how the analogy, the drishtant and the darshtantik, they are different only in that sense. Otherwise, yes, tushti pushti kshudapai is spoken. So text 6. Bhuya eva vivitsami bhagwan atma mayaya yathedam srijate vishvam durvibhavyam madhishvaraihi. Yes.
I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods.
Yeah. So this is his question, one of the question. Bhuya eva vivitsami. Again, I desire to know. What do you want to know? Yathedam srijate vishvam. How does the Supreme Lord create the universe? Atma mayaya, by his own potency, which is very difficult to be understood. Durvibhavyam adhishwarai. Even by the great demigods, it is very difficult to understand the aspect of how Supreme Lord creates the universe by his energies. So this I want to know, he is saying. Bhuya eva vivissami. Like that. So why that bhuya is said? Because he never asked this question before, right? He never said that I want to know the creation aspect. So why is he saying bhuya? So in answer to that, Srila Jiva Goswami says, bhuya iti, here, etadapi jnatum ichhami ityartha. Here bhuya means that also. I also want to know. What do you want to know? I also want to know how the Supreme Lord creates this universe by his own potency. Etadapi, api ke sense mein hai bhuya, like that. Why does he want to know about creation? Apadatah sakshat Shri Krishna Charit Shravane tad viyog dukkha buddhi syat. Apatatah, right from the beginning, right from the word go, if he hears Shri Krishna Charit, then his separation from the Lord will be extremely prominent. Tad viyog dukkha buddhi. His separation from the Lord will become extremely prominent if he hears right from beginning about Shri Krishna Charitra. Directly 10th canto chalu kar. But he is saying that tad viyog dukkha buddhi syat. Like that. See, Lord also has disappeared, and now also Parikshit, he is in such a position where he has only 7 days to live. So, he has this lamentation that, oh, actually, I wasted my life. I just have 7 days now. So, tad viyog dukkha buddhi. So, hearing about that Supreme Lord, that feeling of separation will become so prominent in him, thinking that I actually should have utilized my life in much better way. I didn't utilize my life properly, like that. So, nija dhairya apadanaya tad aishwarya vishesh prashnoyam jnaya. So that is why, directly talking about Lord's Leela of 10th canto, instead of that, nija dhairya padanaya, meaning so that he becomes, he develops dhairya. There is a proper mental steadiness of the mind. Mental steadiness is there. So from that angle, he is asking this Aishwarya Vishesh Prashna. And this question which is talking or which is asking about Aishwarya aspect, Ishwarta aspect. Usually Aishwarya means controlling. Ishwar se Aishwarya banta hai. So the opulence of Krishna's controlling ability, That is what is seen in the creation. So that's why this is a question which is dealing with the Aishwarya aspect. So why is he asking that particular thing? Srila Jiva Goswami says that it is for his own steadiness of the mind. You know, like a great separation from the Lord, by which he will not be able to even be in a working condition, in the sense, in a proper disposition of mind. That shouldn't happen. So he is asking that question. Nij dhairya pada. Nij dhairya. Dhairyo chahiye. I think it should be Nij dhairya upadana. Okay. So that is the point. So obviously the point is that even for Parikshit, he's explaining that why he's asking question like that. So what to speak of sadhakas? For sadhakas, obviously the Aishwarya Gyan is so much needed. Unless and until Aishwarya Gyan is there, the great faith with which to engage in bhakti, it may not be seen like that. Very exceptional people, somebody who is directly blessed by Raga Bhakti. So such people may be like that. But otherwise, Aishwarya Gyan is very much needed. Etam vibhutim yogam cha. What's the next line? Etam vibhutim yogam cha. Okay, anyway, he says that, so yujjate avikalpena yogena. Anybody who knows Lord's Aishwarya in terms of what vibhuti and yogam. Vibhuti is Lord's, the aspect of Aishwarya, and yoga is the aspect of his qualities, guna. Yathatmya and Mahatmya. So Mahatmya is Vibhuti, Yathatmya is Gunas, qualities, like that. So anybody who knows that, both the aspects, so then such a person, Krishna says in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that Saha avikalpena yogena yujjate natra samshaya. So such a person, you know, he doesn't have any choice. बगैर किसी विकल्प के भगवान की भक्ति में लग जाता है, because he has understood the knowledge very, very clearly. God's greatness is very clearly revealed to him. So that's why that greatness, that Aishwarya Jnana is very important in that chapter. To stabilize bhakti, to steady bhakti, it is a very important thing to know Lord's Aishwarya aspects. So here in this section, Acharyas and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, all of them, they are also very much speaking about this point, that even Parikshit is asking for Aishwarya Jnana. So what to speak of others, sadhakas? Although he is Mahabhagavat, he knows these aspects, he already is aware of these aspects, but still he is asking this way. So that is the point of Bhuya. Vishwanath Chakravarti also speaks this. He says that Bhuya eva iti atra radnya ayam abhipraya. What is the intention of this king when he says Bhuya? So he says, Prathamam Maya Shakti Mataha Tasya Srishtyadi Leela Jidnyasya. First, one should inquire about Lord's Leela with Maya Shakti. Like that. See, Lord's Leela with Maya Shakti means we should not feel that he is under Maya. That's not the point. Lord's Leela with Maya Shakti means his Leelas of creation and all that. Two kinds of Leelas are there. One is Lord's Leela with Maya Shakti, one is with Chit Shakti. So Purusha avatars is his Leela with Maya Shakti. And other avatars like Leela avatars and all that, that is with Chit Shakti. So here he says, first one should inquire about Srishtyadi Leela, then Tatahasha, thereafter, then he should inquire about Lord's Leela with Chit Shakti, which is Govardhana Uddharan Adi, lifting Govardhan hill and all that. So even Parikshit, that's why he is asking like that. He wants to know. Veditum Ichchami, he wants to know Vivitsami. And he is also recognizing this aspect that it is very difficult to be understood even by great demigods. Durvibhavyam Adhishwarai. So Prabhupada also addresses these concepts here. Prabhupada says, in every inquisitive mind, the important question of creation of phenomenal world arises. And therefore, for a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who was to know all the activities of Lord from his spiritual master, such an inquiry is not uncommon. Like that. The question of creation is also one of such inquiries to be made to the right person. Shukdev Goswami was extremely learned, Sarvajna, and Lord Srishti Leela is also one of very important inquiries this way. So Prabhupada says that's why Maharaj Parikshit wanted to know the process of creation. Further, he speaks about when common man looks at the creation, he may not understand and he may think like everything is going on automatically. But intelligent man knows that nothing is automatic. So similarly, he says, inexperienced people, ignorant people may think that this world is running just automatically or by chance or like that. But the intelligent people know that it is running by Supreme Lord's energy. So they want to know how Supreme Lord creates this world and maintains this world this way, like that. So finally, he addresses also Durvibhavyam Adhishware. From the Bhagavad Gita, one can understand the long duration of life of inhabitants of Brahma's planet is inconceivable to inhabitants of planet Earth. Similarly, the categorical value of brain of Brahmaji is also inconceivable. Yet, even with such high brain power, Brahmaji considers brain of Supreme Lord inconceivable. So that is Adhishwaraihi Durvibhavyam. This is what he is saying, like that. So further, he is speaking about Brahmaji, speaking all these aspects, how it is difficult to know the Lord. Avajananti Mamudha and all that he is quoting. Further, Maharaj Parikshit did not ask his spiritual master Shukdev Goswami to narrate Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan directly. He wanted to hear first about the Lord's creation. Shukdev Goswami did not say that the king should hear about direct transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The time was very short, and naturally Shukdev Goswami could have gone directly to the 10th canto to make a shortcut of the whole thing. Shortcut bana do, 7 din hi hai. As generally done by the professional reciters. This is how they do actually. Many professional reciters. Second day, they come to 10th canto. In first day, everything is over. So what they do is one pastime from every canto they take. First, second, third, fourth. So just one pastime, half an hour they'll speak. Many Bhagavatam reciters, meaning Bhagavatam speakers, even I've seen in Vrindavan and all. Second or third day, 10th canto, immediate. Sab khatam. Like that. So then 5 days they want to entertain people with 10th canto. So Prabhupada is pointing out that we don't make such shortcuts. Like neither the king nor the great speaker of Bhagavatam jumped forward like the organizers of week-long Bhagavatam readings. Both of them proceeded systematically so that future readers and hearers might take lessons from the example of procedure of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Like that. So Prabhupada says this, that those who are under control of external energy, they should know how external energy works. If somebody was not under Maya Shakti, then he, spiritual world's resident, if he is not interested in knowing about Srishti Leela, it's okay. But those who are under Srishti, meaning under the Maya Shakti, they should be interested in knowing, isn't it? Like that, because they are under her grip. So how to come out of that and understand, Lord's greatness, that should be done. Long purport he has written, but central point you are understanding how he is proceeding. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, descriptions of creative energy and the Lord's hand in it are explained. And the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita has warned the neophyte devotees to be seriously on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. So we should not be neglectful of knowledge of Krishna's greatness. We should not think, oh, what this Ashraya Tattva is the highest. So all other topics, what is the need to discuss so elaborately? Dashamasya Vishuddhyartham Navanam Iha Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmana Shrutena Charthena Chanjasa. The whole 9 topics of Bhagavatam are to distinguish and glorify the 10th topic. That doesn't mean that except 10th topic, you don't glorify anything. So proper balance has to be there. Yes, after going through all the 9 topics, if one doesn't turn to Ashraya, then that is defeating purpose. That is understood. But at the same time, running directly towards the topic of ashray without understanding all these different aspects which are spoken in other 9 topics of Bhagavatam. Out of 10, 10th is ashray, but the other 9. So then that will also not serve purpose. One will be taking Krishna very lightly or as just some ordinary personality or extraordinary personality. He will not understand him as Supreme Personality of God. So that's why Prabhupada says. Okay, text 7. Yatha gopayati vibhur, yatha samyachate puna, yam yam shakti mupashritya, puru shakti parah puman, atmanam kridayan kridan, karoti vikaroti cha. Yes.
Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of player.
So his questions are continuing. Yatha gopayati, how does he maintain this world? Yatha samyachate, how does he wind up? Yam yam shakti mupashritya, which all energies he employs in this. Puru shakti, he is filled with so many energies. Puru shakti, multitudes of energy he possesses. That Supreme Lord Paraha Puman. So please explain these things. How does he maintain? How does he wind up this world? How does he utilize all his energies in this aspect of creation, maintenance, destruction? Atmanam kridayan kridan karoti vikaroti cha. In this way, while playing and while making others to play, how does he create, maintain, and destroy this world? Like that he says, kridan kridayan. He is also playing and he's also making others play. Kridan kridayan karoti vikaroti cha. This way. So here kridan refers to the aspect of sarga and kridayan refers to the aspect of visarga. Kridan means basically the aspect of sarga where he only creates all the creational elements. And kridayan means he engages personalities like Brahma and whatever, the sons of Brahma and all others. So by them, he achieves the aspect of visarga. So like that, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains these words, kridan and kridayan, like that. He says this. See, kridan maya shaktya saha. He himself, he has this srishti leela. So this is sarga prashna, he says, sarga prashna. And kridayan brahma marichadin. By engaging Brahma and Marichi and all these personalities, this is Visarga Prashna, like that. So he wants to know about Sarga and Visarga. In this way, he is speaking, wanting to know about Sarga and Visarga aspect. So Prabhupada, the living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them in the confidence of the Lord are entrusted with the work of creation also. So this is his Kridayan. These personalities like Brahma and Marichi and all that. So he's making them play in the sense, play their roles in the aspect of creation. And he himself also, by his glands, he's creating, then he's entering into Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. This is all Leela only. Srishti Leela for the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says that, Lord is performing the Leela. And see, when he glances on Maya Shakti, and then by that only Maya Shakti understands what all is to be accomplished, like that. So then she immediately by her potency, she rolls out the process of creating Mahat Tattva and further all Mahat Tattva, Ahankar and further all this thing, like that. So taking those elements, then the individual universes are made. And then Lord desires to sleep in the universe also. Previously, he desired to sleep in the Karnarnav, causal ocean. Then he thinks that, oh, I want to sleep in some other new place. Vishesh Pradeshe Nidritum. He wants to sleep on some different place. So Maya says, so please come in this Brahmanda. You can come here and sleep. Like so then he enters as Garbhodakshayi in the particular Brahmanda. And then says, no, I sleeps for a moment and I didn't like this place. And he leaves the place and comes out. In that much time, one Nimesh has gone away. So that is whole Brahma's Dviparardha have taken place, like that. That is only what he's going there, sleeping and thinking, saying that, oh, I didn't like the place. Come out. And then that's what. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that this is Lord's Leela as Srishti Leela. Okay, agreed. All those purposes, like when he produces this world, then the jivas get desire to fulfill their desires and all that. But the aspect is for Lord, it is Leela only. Completely. That's just another Leela, Srishti Leela, that he is doing. In fact, Srila Jiva Goswami says, mainly he creates this universe also for his devotees' sake, that those who are in this world, they are able to practice, they are able to get bodies, practice bhakti, and they are able to come back home, back to Godhead. Other jivas and they getting chance to fulfill their desires, he says, is quite a secondary purpose for which he is making. So he's primarily interested in devotees. Not to say that he is oblivious to other conditioned souls, but that is not his primary purpose. Srila Jiva Goswami says this in his explanation in the 7th canto, the first part where he is speaking about the modes and all that in 7.1. So primarily in this way, it is Leela only for him. It's Srishti Leela, like that. Because as soon as you say he wants to do something for some purpose, then it means his Atma Ramatva is violated. He has a purpose in doing something, because some kind of incompleteness is felt, then one wants to fulfill that incompleteness. That purpose is there to fulfill the incompleteness. That's why one does something. But for Supreme Lord, his activities are not in pursuit of some fulfillment, but they are result of his fulfillment. Like somebody dances to get pleasure. Why is he dancing? He is dancing to get happiness. And somebody is so ecstatic that he dances. So first case, the desire is to get pleasure by dancing. In second case, the dancing is the result of his pleasure. So much he is ecstatic within him that he starts dancing, like that. So similarly, in case of Lord, it is said that, the prayojan, the aspects that he does in terms of Srishti Leela or all, they are result of his ecstasy. They are not in want of ecstasy. He's so ecstatic, he's so filled, so much filled with his Chit Shakti Ananda, that he performs such Leela. He performs Leelas with Srishti, Maya Shakti also he performs. And then obviously the secondary purposes are surely there. He allows jivas to enjoy. He allows his devotees to, undergo practice of bhakti and come back to him, and all those different aspects. But yeah, that's the point. It's Leela for him, Srishti Leela, this way. So Prabhupada is also addressing this idea. Text 8. Nunam bhagavato brahman harer adbhuta karmana durvibhavyam eva bhati kavibhischa picheshtitam.
O land Brahmana, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable, because even great endeavors by many land scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them.
Yeah. So he is also agreeing this point, that it's not a simple topic. It's a topic which is very difficult to understand. Nunam bhagavato brahman harer adbhuta karmana. So these aspects of Srishti Leela, they are durvibhavyam iva bhati. They are very, very inconceivable to understand. For whom? Not for some ordinary people. Kavibhischa picheshtitam. Even for great kavis. But still I want to hear, because it is great opulence of the Supreme Lord. Kavibhischapi cheshtitam. Even very intelligent personalities, very learned personalities, when they endeavor, they are able to understand something about creation, not all the aspects. So it is such an inconceivable thing. He is saying that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says here that when he's asking this question of Sarga and Visarga, then if Srila Shukdev Goswami were to say, Nano idam tvam praya sarvam janasi eva tatkim pruchhasi. You know all these things. Why are you asking? You are yourself so qualified. He is also Rajarshi Sattama. So you know only all these things. Kim Prachasi, why is that you are asking this? So he says, yes, actually, agreed that I know something about these things, but literally, even by the great learned people, these aspects of creation are like Durjneya. They're very, very difficult to know and understand. So, mama adnyasya ka varta. Then what to speak of ignorant soul like me? I may know something, but I am actually ignorant. So you please explain these things to me so that I may be able to understand them, like that. So Prabhupada speaks about this. Prabhupada says, for the common man, these are all very wonderful matters for considerations. Which one? Supreme Lord's material energy, Supreme Lord's spiritual energy, the Vaikuntha world, the material world. These are very wonderful matters for consideration. Even for great scholars, they are inconceivable. And thus such scholars present theories contradict to one another. Even for the insignificant part of his creation, this particular universe, they have no complete information as to how far this limited space extends. So we know that scientific research also, so much they are lacking in everything, right? They hardly know anything about the universe. 90% of the universe, they say, is the dark mass, for which they are completely in darkness, dark mass. And then 10% is there. About that also they know only a little bit. So they themselves agree that 90% is dark mass. That and very little is known. The theories are also updated. So quite surprisingly, Prabhupada in purport, he has put some scientific theories here in the purport. He has put scientific data. You see, in a news release from Moscow dated February 21st, 1960, the following piece of knowledge was relayed. So he's quoting some Russia's well-known professor, Boris Vorontsov, Velyaminov, and he's quoting his various researches. Another person, doctor of chemistry, his ideas, he's speaking about the temperature and all that. So what he wants to say that they keep on proposing for such an insignificant part of Lord's creation, even they have so many theories trying to tell so many different aspects. So they hardly understand. Durvibhavyam, that is what he is trying to speak, like that. So how different planets, they have different conditions by which the living organisms can survive there. He says that these are all aspects spoken in Shastra. Vibhuti Bhinnam. Different planets have different conditions by which different living entities can survive over there. So he's saying that is Vibhuti Bhinnam. So scientists, they have to know these things and they have to take them from scriptures. That is his point, basically, like that. Maharaj Parikshit's statement regarding workings of creative energy of the Lord discloses that he knew everything on process of creation. See, Prabhupada also is saying this. Tvam sarvam evam janasi. You know everything, just as he said, Shukdev. Then why then did he ask Shukdev Goswami for such information? So Maharaj Parikshit, being a great emperor, a descendant of Pandavas and a great devotee of Lord Krishna, was quite able to know considerably about the creation of the world. But that much knowledge was not sufficient. He said, therefore, that even greatly learned scholars fail to know about that, even after great effort. So point is that it is such a knowledge which is highly inconceivable. So I want to know from you even greater details. With that sense, he is asking, although he knows these principles. Okay, just two more verses and these questions will be over. Text 9. Yatha gunanstu prakatte yugpat kramashopiva bibharti bhurishastveka kurvan karmani janmabhi.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one, whether he alone acts with the modes of material nature or simultaneously expand in many forms or expands consequently to direct the modes of nature.
Yeah. So he's saying all this acceptance of three modes of nature, meaning workings in three modes of nature, whether it is simultaneous or it is one after another. How does Lord do these things? Uh, what in what way? Does he simultaneously expand in many forms or expands consecutively? How does he act with the modes of nature when he takes these sattva, rajas, tamas forms, forms of gunavatars and all that? How does he act? Does he take them together or he takes them one after another? He wants to know the details of creation. Text 10. Vichikitsitam e tanme bravitu bhagavan yatha Shabde Brahmani Nishnatah Parasmemscha Bhavan Khalu. Yes.
Kindly clear up all these doubtful inquiries, because you are not only vastly learned in the Vedic literature and self-realized in transcendence, but are also a great devotee of the Lord and are therefore as good as the personality of Godhead.
Mm. Yes. So whatever I have inquired in this way, vi chikitsitam. See, please, you please tell this to be, you please answer this queries. Just clear up all my doubts. Because you are Shabde Brahmani Nishnadaha. You are Shabde Nishnadaha. Shabda Brahmani Nishnadaha. And you are also Parasmin. So same aspect. Before some time also it had come. Kavimcha Rishimcha. Kavi and Rishi, right? So same thing he is speaking. He is not only expert in Shabda Brahma, but he's also expert in Para Brahma. See, for some, the aspect like speaking about the Srishti Leela, speaking about the Tattva of the Supreme Lord, these two qualities in Bhagavatam have been many times emphasized, that the person also has to be Nishnat in Shabda Brahma and also Para Brahma. Sometimes it may be happening that somebody is very much expert in Para Brahma, but that aspect, that service of Shabda Brahma expertise may not be there for him, may not be there intended from him. So in that case, that service may not be rendered by him like that. So the point is what here, the quality of Shukdev Goswami is described in terms of both. He's very expert in Shabda Brahma and also very expert in Parabrahma, meaning he's highly realized and he also knows nitty-gritties of Shastras very well, like that. Sometimes somebody may not know nitty-gritties of Shastra, but he might be a pure devotee, exalted devotee. But he may not know nitty-gritties in the sense, very technical details and all that, or that kind of thing. Because complete knowledge and complete faith is the characteristic of Uttam Adhikari in Vaidhi Bhakti. It is Vaidhi Bhakti's Uttam Adhikari who is complete knowledge and complete faith. So sometimes the Uttam Adhikaris of Raga and further, they may not display that characteristic of complete knowledge. Shabda Brahma Nishnata. They may not, but still they will be pure devotees. This aspect is there. Srila Jiva Goswami explains this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the aspect of Uttam Adhikari, like that. So our point is what? So that's why we cannot judge pure devotees. They may not know some technical details, but they may be on the love of Godhead platform. So you can't apply there saying, oh, what about the complete knowledge and complete faith? No, that's anyway Vaidhi Bhakti's aspect. They have gone beyond that. And they have gone to practically the level of prema. So do they have to manifest that Vaidhi's aspect of complete knowledge? Not necessarily, Jiva Goswami says, like that. But here, as a speaker of Bhagavatam, he is said to be Nishnat, expert in Shabda Brahma also. One who knows all the technicalities of Shastras, whether it is Srishti Leela, whether it is Chit Shakti Leela, whether it is, Amshi's Leela or Amsha's Leela, whatever. He is very Nishnat. And of course, he is the exalted Mahabhagavat, Parasmimscha, Bhavan Khalu. So that is why such qualification of Shukdev Goswami is many times brought forth by Bhagavatam verses. So here also, he is speaking that particular aspect. His expertise in Parabrahma and Shabda Brahma. So Prabhupada. So Prabhupada first speaks about different expansions of Krishna in terms of from Krishna to Baladev and all that. And then further, he comes to this main point of the discussion. One cannot have any clear conception of the Lord or his holy name, form, attributes, pastime, unless one is engaged in transcendental loving service. So he's addressing the idea of parasmimscha bhavan khalu. He's addressing the aspect of that you are actually Bhagavata, you are devotee of the Supreme Lord, you are self-realized devotee of the Supreme Lord. So unless one has that aspect of parasmin, meaning he is situated firmly in the Supreme Lord, one will not have clear idea of all these things. So that's why he's speaking this idea in the first purport paragraph. The statement of Bhagavad Gita that one must first of all surrender unto the Lord, being freed from all other engagement, means that one must become a pure, unconditional devotee of the Lord. Only then one can know him by the strength of devotional service. So his point is this, that devotional service is very, very important. Otherwise, somebody may be just expert in Shabda Brahma. That too, he may not be expert. Prabhupada is saying he may not have clear conception because he is not engaged in transcendental loving service. But sometimes, even if you find somebody very great Vedic scholar, but if he doesn't have, he's not fixed in bhakti, then that qualification is lacking. So then such a person cannot be accepted as a very bona fide speaker of Bhagavatam. If he's not practicing bhakti, what is the use of whatever that so-called knowledge? Maharaj Parikshit admitted in previous verse that Lord is inconceivable even for the greatest learned scholars. Why then should he again request Shukdev Goswami to clarify his insufficient knowledge about the Lord? The reason is clear, because see what Prabhupada is saying is, if Parikshit was saying that you please explain to me about the creation, which is very difficult to be understood even by the great personalities, then Shukdev may say, then how do I know? You are saying it is very difficult to be understood by great personalities also, then how do you expect me to know? So he's saying you are practically like Bhagavan. You are just like Bhagavan. See here, Vishwanath Chakravarti, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti's explanation, which Prabhupada is basically speaking. So just want to show his words like that. Nano kavibhish chapi durvibhavyam idam chet aham janami tattvam katham janasi tatra. You just said that even Kavi, even the greatly learned people, for them also this is inconceivable. So then how do I know? I mean, how do you feel that I know this? Yatha Bhagavan Krishna tad bhakto bhavanapi tatha. Just as Lord Krishna is there, Sarvajna, by his mercy, you are also like that, he is saying. That is what his mood when he is speaking this. So why? Because Shabda Brahma may be Nishnat hai aap, and you are also Nishnat in Parabrahma, like that. Otherwise, Apare Shastra Karta Rastu, there are some other knowledgeable people from the Shastra. They only know Shastra, but na eva anubhavanti. They don't know actually. They don't have the experience. They don't have realization of Supreme Lord. But you are expert in both the things, like that. And he quotes 11th canto, Kim Vidhatya, Kim Achashte, Kim Anudya, like that. So very nice point, Vishwanath Chakravarti, see his words. He's saying here, by saying this, Bhagavad Ukte Chit Shakti Pradhanyena. So Krishna, Ram, and all these pastimes, they are with the Chit Shakti of the Lord. And then Maya Shakti are the Purushavatas, which is creation of Brahmanda Nirmanadya, creation of this universe and all that. That is the pastime which is Maya Shakti Pradhan. And the first one, Krishna, Ram's pastimes, they are Chit Shakti Pradhan. But he says, these pastimes of Purushavataras, Vaishnavaihi Shravya, eva natra kataksha karya. These pastimes should be heard by the Vaishnavas. Which pastimes? Purushadi avatar and all that. This should be heard by Vaishnavas. Shravya, zarur sunni chahiye. Natra kataksha karya. Is pe kataksh nahi dalna chahiye pastime pe. Kya hai ye? This is kataksha, sidelong glance. So when you put a kataksha on something, it is like, why it is needed? Purushavatar. Why? Why are you speaking Purusha avatar? That is Kataksha. He says, Na atra Kataksha karya. इस पर कटाक्ष नहीं डालना चाहिए. You should not look at them. You should not jeer at these pastimes, or you should not look at them with some frowning eyebrow, saying that what is this? वैष्णव के इसमें ये क्या पुरुषावतार की डिस्कशन चल रहा है? ये कहाँ आ गए हम? ऐसे नहीं. Like that they should not think. He is saying. इति श्रोत्रु वक्त्रोः परीक्षित शुकयोः अभिप्राय वेदितव्या. So one should know this abhipraya, which is given by Shrota and Vakta both. This should be known, he is saying. So he's giving actually very great importance on this aspect of, Lord's aspect of Maya Shakti Leela. Leela with Maya Shakti, meaning Purusha avatars and all that. So we may do our best effort to understand these things. We may not understand it fully. As it is said, even great persons don't understand. But it's not that we feel that it is useless, or we feel that it is not needed. We feel that, this is not Vaishnavism. That is his point. That why they are discussing Purusha avatars and all that. Because some of the sampradayas, so to say, even in Vrindavan, they have this idea. They feel that within Bhagavatam, these aspects of Purusha avatar, this, that, and all that, why are they there? They should not be there. And they say that they should not be discussed also. Like that. One should only directly talk about the 10th canto pastimes and all that. Very famous sampradayas are there like that. Very popular. They will say many such things. But that is actually quite a bogus idea. Straight away from Bhagavatam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti also is showing this particular aspect, that yes, we do agree that Ashray Tattva is the most important discussion, agreed. But then these discussions are also fundamental to Ashray Tattva's discussion. And one should not be sort of averse to them. He may understand to the degree whatever he can understand, but one should not be averse to them. One should not skip them saying or thinking that, this is not needed. Anyway, this is some asar or something like that. That is his point over here. Okay. So, Prabhupada, yeah. I'm just ending, just one more verse, like that. So Prabhupada has addressed this idea in the last part of his purport, especially this Natra Kataksha Karya. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti offers his good counsel to the interested Vaishnavas when he says that they should not be interested in hearing only about the Lord's activities in Vrindavan, but must be keenly interested in his pastimes, in his features of the Purusha avatars, in connection with Srishti Tattva, creational functions, following the examples of Maharaj Parikshit, the ideal disciple, and Shukdev Goswami, the ideal spiritual master. It is exact translation of what we read just now, that aspect. So just this verse, and then next from there pairs begin. So I will end this, pause here with this verse. Suta uvacha ityupa mantrito radnya gunano kathane hare rishikesham manusmritya prativaktum prachakrame. Yes.
Sud Goswami said, when Sukdev Goswami was thus requested by the king to describe the creative energy of the personality of Godhead, he then systematically remembered the master of the senses, Sri Krishna, and to reply properly, he spoke thus.
Yeah. So when he was in this way requested, Parikshit requested Shukdev Goswami. Sud Goswami is continuing. When Parikshit requested in this way Srila Shukdev Goswami, what was his request? Hare he gunanukathanam. He wanted to hear the qualities, pastimes of Lord Hari, Srishti Leela or Krishna Leela, Chit Shakti Leela. So then before answering this, just he remembered Lord Rishikesh. Shukdev Goswami remembered Rishikesha manusmritya prativaktum prachakrame. And then he began to speak, and he did the first upakrama, the first activity when you have to speak. That is what? Mangalacharan, prachakrame. So here is what he is offering Mangalacharan when he has already spoken so much, isn't it? So here Acharyas do mention this thing, that here is where actually Vishwanath, our Srila Shukdev Goswami is offering his Mangalacharan. See, Rishikeshayam Sarvendriya Pravartakam, Rishikanam Isha, Sah Rishikesha. So he is the master of the senses. He is the instigator of the senses. Before I speak, let my senses, let my mind, internal senses, external senses, vacha, everything, let it be, inspired by him, instigated by him. So that is why that Rishikesh word is used. Sarvendriya Pravartak. He is the one who is the inspirer of all the senses. So Madvachi Saeva Sthitva. Let him reside, let him stay on my vacha, on my speech, and let him only speak through me all this, queries, all these replies to these different queries. So like that, Shukdev Goswami thought. So in this way, he remembered Sri Rishikesh, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, that may he be there on my tongue and may he answer through me. So that's why prachakrame, meaning what? Devata Guru Namaskar Purvak Upakramam Kritavan. Devata Guru Namaskar, ye to shuruat mein hona chahiye. Ekdam, isn't it? That is only Mangala Charan, like that. But he is actually doing it over here. He's beginning by offering his obeisances to Guru and Devata. So Guru in terms of Krishna also can be Guru here, Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. Or he's offering his obeisances to Vyasadev in the 24th verse. So Guru and his Ishta Devata, who is Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. To him, he is offering obeisances right from verse 12 onwards, all the way up to 23rd, like that. So this is how he is offering Mangala Charan over here. So just we will end with Prabhupada. Prabhupada writes very nice thing for devotees. The devotees of the Lord, while delivering speeches and describing the transcendent attributes of the Lord, do not think that they can do anything independently. They think that they can speak only what they are induced to speak by the Supreme Lord, the master of the senses. The senses of the individual being are not his own. The devotee knows that such senses belong to the Supreme Lord and that they can be properly used when they are employed for the service of the Lord. Rishikesh is addressing that idea. So that is our point. We don't do Mangala Charan just as a Shishtachar. Outside world, they say Shishta Parampara or Shishtachar. It's the way of the virtuous, way of the people who know the Shastra, that Shishtachar. But it is much more than Shishtachar actually. We think that we can speak only that which Lord will allow us to speak because he is Rishikesh. So we seek his blessings and we seek his mercy that he can inspire the right words which will satisfy the queries, the particular audience which is asking, which is hearing from us. So with that sense of dependence, a devotee offers Mangala Charan, not just as some formality or like that, which many times poets think like that. So that's not the point. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, what was the question? Yeah, Lalit Madhav.
So, Prabhuji, I have two questions regarding. One is regarding when devotees, they don't discriminate, they don't hesitate to hear the pastimes, creation, maintenance of Purusha avatars. So it means there is a difference between hearing this creation and hearing the pastime of the Lord Krishna, because the result will be same. Because somebody is dying just by hearing the pastimes of creation, he may also get same result as here remembering the Lord Krishna's. Is it same way, or how it is? What is the platform's bracelet?
It will. You have to know this, that Krishna's Aishwarya, that is what is delineated in creation pastimes, and Krishna's Madhurya is delineated in his Chit Shakti pastimes. There also sometimes Aishwarya aspect may be spoken, fine, some pastimes may be like that, no problem. But when we say Leelas of 10th canto or like that, it is primarily the Madhurya aspects of Krishna's Leela. Okay, so see, we shouldn't also go to extreme saying that both will have the same effect. No, that is not the Siddhanta. Both will not have the same effect. Because the Madhurya aspect of Krishna's pastimes will come out through only when one hears the Madhurya Leelas and all that. So the Aishwarya aspect is there, which is very fundamental. If one doesn't hear that, one's understanding about Krishna will be faulty. One may misunderstand him, or one may suddenly, when he is hearing Krishna's pastimes, some vikaras may come because he is not understood and he has not stabilized this idea that Krishna is the Bhokta. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why Srila Jiva Goswami also says this in Bhakti Sandarbha, that if one is hearing Krishna's pastime of his enjoyment with his gopis or devotees, other queens and all that, and if he doesn't delight in it, if he is not happy by it, so his Aishwarya Jnan is not stabilized. Why? Because what is happening? Actually, we should delight in Krishna enjoying. Oh, here is our Lord who is enjoying so much. Wonderful that way. So the aspect where one hears such enjoyment aspect of the Lord in 10th canto and all that, for that to accept wholeheartedly and in fact delight in it, that Aishwarya Jnan is very much needed. Some few rare exceptional souls may get Raga Bhakti directly and then they enjoy it, sometimes even without having so much of Vidhi. But that is a very rare thing. It doesn't happen so easily. With usual path is Vaidhi Bhakti, in which you hear Aishwarya Jnan very wonderfully, stabilize, accept, and get convinced of this aspect that how Krishna is Param Bhokta and we are all servants. So he enjoys his pastimes in different rasas, and we are happy to hear his rasa, his enjoyment, whether it is Madhurya, whether it is Vatsalya or Sakhya or all that, like that. But the point is, the aspect of Madhurya that which is there in Krishna's Leela, it will not be there in the Srishti Leela, no? It will just not come. So Raganuga Bhakti, to develop Raganuga Bhakti, one has to hear about Krishna's Madhurya Leela. If one is not attached to that hearing Madhurya Leela of Krishna, one will not be able to develop Raganuga Bhakti. That is the Siddhanta. So one may be very fond of Srishti Leela, which is very nice, but it is only discussing Aishwarya, no? So then one should have Aishwarya Bhakti. Then such a person should only have Mahatmya Jnan Prem. He will not develop Kevala Prem. So our Mahaprabhu came to give Raganuga Bhakti. He didn't just come to give the aspect of Aishwarya Prem, Ishwar Jnan Prem, Mahatmya Jnan Prem. He came to give Kevala Prem. So our point is both the aspects are needed. In fact, all your Srishti Leela and everything should take you to the Ashraya Tattva. You should be interested in Krishna as a personality, his associates, his sweet dealings, his Madhurya. So that is a qualified candidate for Raganuga Bhakti. Otherwise, it will be more like a general Aishwarya Bhakti kind of thing. So that's why we should not go to any extremes where you just minimize Aishwarya Leela and think like, oh, this is all Gyanis. Like that some Vrindavan people say, Vrindavan Sampradayas, this is Gyanis people. What they are discussing second canto. Like that. And the other extreme will be what? Where we think that, oh, only Srishti Leela, nothing else should be discussed. Samjha kya Srishti Leela? 10 baar padho usko. You should read it 10 times if you have not understood. On and on and on and on. No, that's not the point. You have to also understand that all this is for Dashamasya Vishuddhyartham, to distinguish Dasham topic, the 10th topic, all these are spoken, so that you understand that that is where I have to reach 10th canto. So this is how it is, Prabhu. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. One more question. Can I ask?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, like Parikshit Maharaj glorifying Shukdev Goswami, how you are not just realized soul, you are not just scholar, but you are realized soul, and you are as good as like Bhagavan. So then you can give the explanation of this creation Leela, the Purusha Avatar Leela. So here we are talking about having, people may also have knowledge, but sometimes they don't have realization. But in this regard, the aspect of creation and maintenance, what is that realization? Because it is beyond anybody's mental or intellectual conception about how Krishna is, the Vishnu is, creating. It is one sense, if you consider, it's like a mind we are imagining, intellectually we are imagining, and we are having, we are putting faith on that. So where is the question, how we understand person as realization on this aspect of that he is realized?
Okay, got it. Yeah, got it, Prabhu. Now, when you talk about realization, Prabhu, the topic of realization, it is primarily dealing with the bhakti aspect only. What is creation's realization, like that? You go and see the creation, then you realized, or something like that. So when you say realization, Prabhu, parasmin, he is saying, right? You are also expert in Parabrahma. So it is more from the aspect of you are a practitioner, or rather he's a siddha. He's not even practitioner, he's a siddha. He's perfected. So the aspect that you have great love for the Supreme Lord and you have great devotion, so that aspect is delineated. We don't so much talk about, oh, he has great realizations on creation aspect, that kind of thing. So we don't speak in that particular manner. It's more of the aspect of great knowledge and understanding. And based on that understanding, his faith in Krishna's, Bhagavatta is very, very solid. So that is something of realization. That is the aspect of realization. Because of knowing the aspect of Aishwarya Gyan very nicely, very thoroughly. So his faith in Krishna is quite unflinching. That Krishna is Bhagavan, Krishna is having that Bhagavatta. He has that aspect of, Bhoktritva, Jnatritva, Kartritva, all these aspects which are there in Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the one who executes everything. Krishna is the one who is the complete knowledge, omniscient, omnipotent, whatever, all those simple words that you use. So in this way, so that is what is the realization aspect, Prabhu. Okay. So that kind of discussion, I have not seen so much where somebody is talking about, oh, realization in creation aspect or like that. It's understanding in creational aspect. When you talk about this parasmin over here, it is more from the practice aspect. Okay.
Guruji.
Yes, bro. Chat. Devotees who want to speak. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Is Vaidhi Bhakti Uttam Adhikari inferior to Raganuga Bhakti Uttam Adhikari? What is the difference in their level of spiritual advancement? Oh, obviously, Raganuga Bhakti is Uttam Adhikari or Prema Bhakti Uttam Adhikari is higher than Vaidhi Bhakti. See, Vaidhi Bhakti, usually if somebody is a follower of Raganuga Marga, so then till Nishtha, we know that it is considered Vaidhi Bhakti. Beyond Nishtha, then Ruchi and Asakti, and these aspects start coming in his Raganuga Bhakti, like that. So obviously Raganuga Bhakti person is ahead of Vaidhi Bhakti. Now somebody may say that you have some prema, somebody is on the level of prema from Vaidhi and somebody is at Raganuga, which is like Ruchi or Asakti. He doesn't have prema that way. So amongst them, who is superior or something like that? Somebody may ask. So here also, Prabhu, if we see Aishwarya and Madhurya aspect, so always those who are on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, they are considered to be superior. They are considered to be higher. And especially if somebody has gone to Raganuga, meaning which is Ruchi or Asakti, it is quite certain that now person is going to proceed to Bhav and Prema. Very rarely beyond Nishtha, somebody falls. It doesn't happen unless and until very great aparadh or like that. So that is why what I'm trying to say is the aspect of Vaidhi Bhakti, when you take, so such a person will be typically manifesting those symptoms, which is complete knowledge and which is complete faith, that way. Now, somebody from Raganuga, he will obviously have great faith, unflinching faith, because he has gone beyond Nishtha, like that stage. But whether he has to manifest that aspect of complete knowledge, Jiva Goswami says not necessarily. Then you will deem him as Vaidhi Bhakti is Uttam Adhikari only, no? Then he is not different than that, he says. But sometimes there are these personalities who are followers of Raganuga and all that, who have gone beyond Vaidhi Bhakti, but they may not have that aspect of manifested aspect of complete knowledge. So that is why he says that this may be there. But When you see, so you see this also, right? Sometimes we see some very exalted devotee, even in Bhaktisiddhanta's time and all that, very exalted devotee, but they may not be greatly expert in scriptures, but they are talking to Lord. Okay. So what is the point? The person may be already on prema. So he knows the Siddhanta in terms of its conclusions, but if you ask him nitty-gritties, it's not necessarily that he has to know. That's not needed. If he has that kind of seva, and if he has that kind of aspect as an acharya, then he will be expert even in that, like that. So complete knowledge, complete faith. When we say that, this is typically Vaidhi Bhakti's Uttam Adhikari. This is how he defines it, that this particular symptoms, especially in terms of knowledge, they may be there in a Raganuga Bhakti's Uttam Adhikari, meaning somebody who is Prema Bhakta or like that, or the knowledge aspect may not be there. It may not be manifested. It is, but the unflinching faith, oh, that will certainly be there. No question of that. That has to be there. He has gone beyond Nishtha. So that is the understanding. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I think he heard. Okay.
So question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Then here we are talking about the Adhikari, who has a Kanishta Uttam Adhikari, who has a complete knowledge, faith, and that is on a Nishtha stage, and other may or may not be having the full the integrities of the knowledge aspect of Shastra. So then what is this knowledge which is there full in this Uttam Adhikari Nishtha stage? What is the full knowledge? What are the
Full
aspects of
knowledge.
that?
Yeah, full knowledge means actually he is thorough with Siddhanta. He knows all the, technical aspects of Siddhantas, whether does it mean the aspect of Aishwarya or aspect of Madhurya. Shastra yuktaucha nipunaha, he had said there. He is extremely expert in Shastra Yukti. He can answer any sort of questions on Shastra. See, he may not answer in America how much population is there, or like Sarvajnata is not being spoken over here. But in terms of Shastra, the understanding of Shastra, the Tattva and Rasa aspect, he is very thorough. See, if somebody is not expert in Shastra Yukti, then that complete knowledge aspect is not applied to him in Vaidhi. Srila Jiva Goswami says, such a person is extremely nipuna. So he will be very thoroughly read in all the Shastras and understanding of Shastras and all that. So that is the knowledge. Sometimes we may just settle it by saying, oh, he knows everything in principle. That is not how it is, but Srila Jiva Goswami if you read Bhakti Sami Sindhu, he very clearly speaks about these things like that. Such a person is extremely well conversant with the Shastra. You ask him about scriptures, you ask him about the aspects of scriptures, whether it is Srishti Leela or whether it is the Leelas of Lord with Chit Shakti and all that. See, whatever that Sampradayas, that particular paths scriptures are. See, sometimes we may take it to just mean Sarvajnata. That is only with the Lord. Nobody is Sarvajna except Lord. We should know this. Only Krishna is Sarvajna. For others, Sarvajnata, when it is spoken, omniscience, it is spoken only in terms of certain field. Like they may know about this particular aspect of, now if you talk about bhakti, so now bhakti and the Shastra aspect pertaining to bhakti, they will be very thorough with it, whether it is practice, whether it is perfection, or all these other aspects. So he's in fact says Shastra yuktaucha nipuna. Such a person is also very expert in yukti, meaning such people will also know the aspects of darshanas, even shad darshanas and all that, very thorough. They will not allow anybody to defeat Vaishnava Siddhanta. He can defeat anyone in Siddhantic understanding. That is Uttam Adhikari. Like that. That's what he defines. Okay, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, normally person devotee becomes first Vaidhi, then Ragunaga, and then Premi. So what you are talking about here, the Premi who may directly gone to Prema, and he may not have that much kind of knowledge, not manifesting. That is the case. Normally, even Prema Bhakti also has everything, all the knowledge, isn't it, Prabhuji? Or how it is?
No, so I did say that, right? That normally somebody who is going to Vaidhi, he would be like that. But what if he has already practiced Vaidhi Bhakti in the last life? And in this life, he is a Raganuga Bhakta. Huh? So in such cases, he is practicing Raganuga now here. So that Shastra's knowledge and all that may not be manifested in his. But he's all, you see his symptoms, he will be already there on Asakti level. Huh? So you can know that this person has already practiced it in prior life, or Siddhantically, it need not be like that. Sometimes what happens in rare exceptions, person directly gets Raga Bhakti. See, I'm telling you the Siddhanta, what it is. Usually it is Vaidhi, Raganuga, and then you go to Prema. But sometimes Raga Bhakti can directly be awarded if it becomes Prasadaja by somebody's mercy. If somebody receives Raga Bhakti directly, such a person may not have a great training in Shastra or like that, but suddenly you see that a great rag has been generated. So it is not to be imitated. It is not to be taken as a process कि मेरे साथ भी ऐसा होगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. You have to follow the rules, isn't it? You follow by the rules. But the point is, this kind of thing can happen. If it's not necessary that only after Vaidhi Raganuga will come. No, sometimes Raganuga comes just directly that way. So in two cases, I am saying. So if a case is like this, then also you may not find complete knowledge of Shastra in such a person. But he has a great rag, and by that rag, he is going to achieve Krishna. Or secondly, somebody has practiced Vaidhi Bhakti in his prior life, and now he is on the level of Raganuga. So it is not necessary. Such spontaneous attachment has to be also coupled with complete knowledge of Shastra. It is not necessary. It may not be manifested like that. Okay. So still in that case, such a person is Raganuga Bhakta, who is higher than Vaidhi Adhikari, who has complete knowledge of the Shastra. You understand, Prabhu? Like that.
Yes, Guruji.
Okay. So that is the point. Hare Krishna. So, okay, we have 18-20 minutes. So we begin now with prayers of Srila Shukdev Goswami. So these 13 prayers are there. Very beautiful prayers. So we'll begin now this. Text 12. Shri Shuka Uvacha Namah Parasmay Purushaya Bhuyase Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya Grihita Shakti Tritataya Dehinam Antarbhavayanupalaksha Vartmane. Oh, screen sharing.
Shukdev Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of the material world, accepts the three modes of nature. He is a complete whole, residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable."
So Srila Shukdev Goswami begins to speak, begins to offer his prayers. This is his Guru Devata Namaskar. This is his Mangala Charan, in which he is offering his obeisances to the Supreme Lord now. And he will offer obeisances to Supreme Lord all the way till verse 23. 24th, he will offer obeisances to Vyasadev. And 25th, he will say that I will quote to you Brahma Narad Samvad in the same aspect of inquiry, which Parikshit made. So here in the first verse, he begins by glorifying the first Aishwarya of Supreme Lord, which is seen in the material world, which is the Srishti Leela. So in terms of Srishti Leela, he speaks Purushavataras in the first verse. Next two verses, he will speak the Prayojan of those avatars, Prayojan of Supreme Lord, Leela Avataras. But first one, he is speaking in terms of Purushavatar, because it is visible in the material world. That is like first thing, knowing about Lord's greatness is Srishti Leela. So, Namah Parasmaya Purushaya Bhuyase. Let there be obeisances to that Param Purush, Shri Krishna, Bhuyase, who is extremely powerful. What is his power? He is Purushavatar. In terms of Purushavasaras, his power is spoken. Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya. Sat here means prapancha, material world. So material world's udbhava, it is maintenance, sthana, and it's nirodha, destruction. So let us offer our obeisances to the Supreme Lord, who manifests as Purushavataras to cause the creation, destruction, maintenance of the entire cosmic manifestation, which is this avatar of Purusha which is the source of entire creation, maintenance, and destruction, like that. Mahavishnu. This is talking about Mahavishnu, like that. Grihita Shakti Tritataya. And he is the one who also holds the Shakti in terms of what? Shakti in terms of three modes of material nature, meaning he offers, he accepts the forms which are in touch with three modes of material nature. Of course, in that only two are in touch with him. The one, which is Lord Vishnu, he is never in touch with gunas. So although he accepts Sattva Guna, but he never is in Sattva Guna. He is always in Vishuddha Sattva. But with Lord Shiva and with Brahma, they are touched by those modes. They are in the contact with those modes. So Grihit Shakti Tritataya, it is said, it means that he has accepted the three modes of material nature. For what? For the purpose of creation, maintenance, and destruction. It's the same form, Mahavishnu, but who takes now three different forms in terms of Gunavatar. Okay. So this Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya is speaking about Mahavishnu, and this further Dehinam Antarbhavaya. He is the Antaryami, Antarbhava of Dehis, of the living entities. So it is talking about the other two. It's talking about Samashti Veshtinam Antaryami, Samashti Antaryami and Veshti Antaryami. Who is Samashti Antaryami? Samashti Antaryami, remember? Garbhodakshai. And who is Veshti Antaryami? Shirodakshai. And who is Prakriti Antaryami? Mahavishnu. Okay? These terms you should remember. Prakriti Antaryami, Samashti Antaryami, Veshti Antaryami. Or Prakriti Antaryami, Samashti Virad Antaryami, and Veshti Jiva Antaryami. All this like that. So Dehinam Antarbhavaya means whether Samashti Dehis, Samashti Jivas, or Veshti Jivas, he is the Antaryami of that. So that includes now Garbhodakshayi Vishnu also, and also Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Anupalaksha Vartmane, but one who can be understood, all these forms can be understood, or Supreme Lord can be understood only by Bhakti Yoga. If you don't have Bhakti Yoga, then his path, meaning understanding him, remains inconceivable. It's very, very difficult to understand him like that. So that is Anupalaksha Vartmane. See, so I'm explaining everything on the basis of Vishwanath Chakravarti and sometimes Sridhar Swami. See, Bhuyase, Prathamam Aishwaryamaha. This is the first opulence, Purushavataras. Bhuyase, meaning he takes Purushavataras and all, because of which he is considered extremely powerful, like that. So first, in that first Prathamam Purushavatar is spoken by Sadudbhava, and Dvitiya and Tritiya Purushavatar are spoken in terms of further. Anupalaksham, why? Yogi bhirapi durdneyam vartma bhakti yogo yasya tasmay. Bhakti yoga is so difficult, or rather Bhakti yoga is so sometimes even not understood by even yogis or like that. And only those who have Bhakti yoga can understand Supreme Lord. But sometimes even great yogis or jnanis, they may not understand Bhakti yoga, and they may feel like it is some simple process or whatever. It will not give the highest benediction or like that. So that's why Anupa Laksha Vartmane, it is said. He remains inconceivable except for the one who accepts Bhakti. So Prabhupada addresses these ideas. Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, he speaks. And he says, Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him. What is that he is commenting on? Anupalaksha Vartmane, on that. Because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of personality of Godhead, he is called Anupalaksha Vartmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. This way. Okay. So now the prayojan, the purpose of his incarnations, Leelavataras, and Purushavatar is done. Now the Leelavataras purpose is going to be spoken over here. Text 13. Bhuyo namah sad vrijina chide sata satam asambhavaya khila sattva murtaye pumsam punah paramahamsya ashrame vyavasthitana manumrugyadashushe. Yes.
I again offer my respectful obeisances unto the form of complete existence and transcendence, who is the liberator of the pious devotees from all distresses and the destroyer of the further advances in atheistic temperament of the non-devotee demons. For the transcendentalists who are situated in the topmost spiritual perfection, he grants their specific destinations.
Yeah. So Samanya Prayojan, the general purpose of Lord's descent has been spoken over here. Bhuyo Namaha. Again, I offer my obeisances to Sad Vrijina Chide. Vrijina means what? Trouble or distress. Sat means the saints, sadhus. Paritranaya sadhunam. That's what he is saying, basically. Sad Vrijina Chide. One who destroys, liberates the distresses, or he liberates the devotee from all the distresses. Paritranaya sadhunam. Like that. Asatam asambhavaya vinashaya cha dushkritam. Like that. Those who are asat, those who are atheist, demons, he sort of destroys them, asambhavaya. But that destruction is also actually giving them liberation. So that way he makes asambhavaya, meaning he makes their bhava, he makes their material existence as asam, meaning he stops their material existence. Okay, so that is asatam asambhavaya. Akhila sattva murtaye. He is not khila sattva murti. Khila means inferior. He is akhila. He is superior sattva. What is that? Which sattva? Shuddha sattva. Like that. Or it can mean he is complete sattva murti, which means shuddha sattva murti, obviously. Shri Krishna is vishuddha sattva. Like that. Pumsam punaha paramahamsya ashrame vyavasthitanam anumrugya dashushe. He is also dashusha. He is also one who gives data. Data of what? Anumrugya, that which is searched, that which is hunted, that which is desired. What is that? That which is desired by those who are situated in Paramhamsa ashram, Paramhamsya ashrame. जो परमहंस आश्रम में व्यवस्थित है, meaning those who are situated in Paramhamsa ashram, what do they desire? He is the one who bestows it. So what is being said? Paramhamsa ashram people, what do they desire? They don't desire some, dhanam janam sundari, no. What do they desire? They desire apavarga, they desire premananda, they desire brahmananda. It can mean both. It can mean bhakti mishra jnanis, or it can mean kevala bhaktas, those who want prema. So he is the bestower of prema. He is the bestower of moksha, like that. Baki bhog vagera to many might bestow that particular thing, but only Supreme Lord can bestow moksha. Only Supreme Lord can bestow prema. So that aspect is also being pointed out along with the general purposes which are there. Okay. So Prabhupada, Lord Krishna is complete form of all existence. Akhila, both material and spiritual. Akhila means complete, or that which is not khila, inferior. See, both meanings he took. Vishwanath Chakravarti's meaning also, and Sridhar Swami is also like that. So he is Akhila Sattva, he is Aprakrit Sattva, he is Shuddha Sattva. He is completely transcendental. Krishna in his form doesn't have anything which is Achit, which is Prakrit. And his Murti, he is not just some impersonal light or something. He is having a transcendental form. Further, pious men who follow the rulings of the Vedas are dear to him. And therefore, the pious men of this world are also protected by him. Sat Vrijina Chide, he is speaking. Impious and non-devotees are against principles of Vedas. And so they are hampered from making advances. Asata asambhavaya. Very clear. So he quotes Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and comes like. Finally, Paramhams. The Paramhams stage of existence is highest perfectional stage of spiritual values. According to Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord is factually understood by Paramhamsas only. So this is from Jiva Goswami's commentary, where he says that the real Paramhams is Tatha Paramhamsanam Muninam Amalatmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham Katham Pashyema Histri. They are the real Paramhamsas. They who are the practitioners and perfected beings of Bhakti Yoga. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti is a little liberal. He says, okay, Brahmanandi also. Brahmanandi also, and also Premanandi. Both can be considered Paramhamsa. Which Srila Jiva Goswami says, nahi bhai, only Bhakti Yogis, they are the Paramhamsa. So fine. Paramhamsas are generally found among both impersonalists and devotees. Prabhupada also says like that. So, point is, Krishna is the one only who awards Bhakti Yoga to such Paramhamsas like that. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti, there are two classes of Paramhamsas, namely the Brahmanandis and the Premanandis. So, Brahmanandi ho ya Premanandi ho, dono ko, who bestows the benediction of respective goals, only Krishna can bestow. Only Supreme Lord can bestow, meaning they cannot achieve it by their own end. No, they have to take shelter of Supreme Lord. At least in sadhan kal, at least while meditating, even if not in sadhya, but sadhan they have to. Otherwise, they can never achieve their goals. That is the point of this particular verse. Okay, so yes, so fine. So we move on. Now, that was his general purpose, but his special purpose in terms of his dealing with his devotees is spoken in the next verse, which is text 14. Namo namaste stva vrishabhaya sattvatam vidura kasthaya muhuku yoginam nirasta samyati shayena radhasa swadhamani brahmani ramsyate nama.
Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto he who is association of the member of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both material and spiritual worlds. Yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable.
Yes. So Namo Namaste to Astu Rishabhaya Sattvatam. So Shri Jiva Goswami says, last verse spoke about the general purposes, but this is Antaranga Prayojan, he says. This is the inside desire. Why? Vrishabhaya Sattvatam. Actually, he comes as the leader, the great associate of devotees. He comes to associate with devotees, reciprocate with them. That's his real purpose. That is why he comes. बाकी ये सब तो ठीक है परित्राणाय साधुनाम विनाशाय च दुष्कृताम. The real purpose why he comes is sattvatam rishabhaya, he says. Vidura kasthaya muhuku yoginam. But those who are ku-yogis, those who are non-devotees, for them vidura kasthaya, meaning his kastha, his direction is also very far for them. If somebody is a ku-yogi, he's a non-devotee, he can't find Lord's direction also. He is so far that he doesn't know even the direction in which the Lord is. So that is vidhura kasthaya muhuku yoginam. Like that. See, Vishwanath Chakravarti says here. Kuyoginam bhakti hinanam vidura kashtha digapi yasya tasmay. जो भक्तिहीन है उनके लिए भगवान की दिशा भी बहुत दूर है. So that is the meaning of that kuyoginam vidura kasthaya. Like that. Vidura kasthaya. Prabhupada also writes same. One who is far from mundane wranglers. Same. Nirastha samyati shayena radhasa. And nobody is equal to him. Nobody is greater than him. Nirastha samyati shayena radhasa. Such opulence he has. Radhas means opulence. Such great aishwarya he has. Swadhamani brahmani ramsyate nama. So with such great opulence which cannot be equaled by anybody, which cannot be excelled by anybody, he enjoys ramsyate. Ramsyate matlab ramaman hote hai, raman karte hai. Where does he do raman? In his great dham, which is brahmani, which is brahma swarup, which is complete chit, chit shakti. It is not some anything of this world like that. So this is his Supreme Lord's special purpose in terms of he comes to reciprocate with his devotees, and also he enjoys in his spiritual world, and he manifests those pastimes over here also. That is the real purpose with which he comes. Or Vishwanath Chakravarti, he gives the explanation that the last verse spoke about Kripa Madhurya, the sweetness of his mercy in terms of delivering the sadhus and whatever, destroying the evil. And this verse is speaking about his Aishwarya and Madhurya together. So his Aishwarya is spoken by nobody is equal to him, nobody is greater than him. And Madhurya is spoken by Ramsyate, Raman karte hai. He delights, he enjoys in his spiritual world. So like that he says, this verse is spoken Aishwarya, speaking Aishwarya and Madhurya both. Like that. So that is Vishwanath Chakravarti's explanation. Prabhupada, there are two sides of transcendental manifestation of Supreme Lord. So what are those two sides? He says one is the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world and another is Brahma Jyoti. Okay. That way he is saying two, not Aishwarya Madhurya, but spiritual world and Brahma Jyoti. So Prabhupada says, those who are interested in Brahma Jyoti, see, he has written 2-3 paragraphs. Point is this, that those who are interested or dazzled by Brahma Jyoti, such people, they will never be able to approach the personal transcendence. See, this is his point of discussion, whole point. One who is dazzled by effulgence of impersonal Brahma Jyoti cannot know the personal transcendence. So that's why Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham. So what is he speaking? See, he is speaking this idea of Swadhamani Brahmani Ramsyate. He is delighting in his spiritual world. He is enjoying in spiritual world. And that is what you should hanker for. You should not hanker for some Brahma Jyoti or like that. This is what he is, that is why he is bringing up that particular discussion. Okay, fine. Okay, so it is 4 o'clock. We will complete rest of the verses tomorrow and also begin next chapter. This rest of the verses may take around 45 minutes or 1 hour at best. So I will begin 5th chapter also tomorrow. Okay. Anything you wish to ask on this discussion? Whatever 4 verses, 3 verses that we saw. Otherwise, we can stop for today. All right. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.